I'm going to tell a story about how somebody set up an amazing deal that allowed them to pretty much build an empire. And they use mergers and acquisitions. That's why buying businesses with other people's money is super important. Because if you're able to do this, you're able to build quote unquote an empire very quickly. And if you miss out on this opportunity and you don't structure things right, then you can actually lose out and you misunderstand and you just pigeonhole yourself into a small corner where you can't take advantage of buying businesses with other people's money that could multiply the amount of profit that you make. So when I was in the gym, of all places, I got such a great lesson from somebody who built a pretty big business empire by just structuring everything right. So one day there was someone who basically they owned they were a land developer. They owned land, and they wanted to develop their land and sell it to farmers. And then this was somewhere in Canada, in Saskatchewan. And then after successfully, learning how to develop land and sell it to people that wanted it, he realized that there was this business of grapes, where there was a big niche of people that wanted to focus on selling grapes and working with grapes. So what he ended up doing, he learned the arts of working with grapes, of farming them, selling them to suppliers, and he then realized that it's really critical to work with people who are in the restaurant business, because people in the restaurant business worked with a lot of vineyards, and vineyards did seem to be like the top customer that he had. So he got into understanding how vineyards worked, and eventually he had his own vineyard and he built a lot of vineyards, and then he started working with restaurants, and then he understood how restaurants worked and how tequila worked and how different wines worked and different wineries. And then from the wineries, he then went into e-commerce, and essentially before he knew it, within I think a span of 20 years, he built around 7 vertically integrated businesses. Everything from the quote unquote raw materials. There's a book by one of the people at Intel. It was called High Output Management. And although Intel now is probably seen as a dinosaur company, there was a time where it was really cutting edge, and the managers really understood what it meant to buy assets and how to build something from raw manufacturing. So anyways, he went from being a land developer to a vineyard person, to a restaurateur, to a food and beverage person, to an e-commerce person, and he owned these businesses to reduce the amount of competition he had. The thing is that if you have a product or service, or if you're in real estate, and so one thing that we realized is if you use your vendors as separate entities, you get the advantage of speed and lower costs. But the issue with that is that when you have lower cost, the lower cost is that you still have a moat, because the moat is the barrier to entry that other competitors have to get into your business. The more people that are doing what you do, the less profit you can make, because as the laws of capitalism seem to show, people will compete away any excess profit that one person makes. So if you're in a situation where you're making a lot of profit, and you then get into the situation where you start to compete with everybody else. If anybody in a third world country can build what you build, then you just end up competing with the world, and you build something that isn't really unique or valuable. Or it could be valuable, but maybe everybody's trying to do the same thing. So some ways that people use to differentiate and to have a form of to do something hard such that it prevents other people from entering their business is to do something that requires a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of effort, such as building businesses. Like, let's say you're a company and you work with let's say you buy real estate and you flip it. If you buy real estate and you flip it as a consultant, that's one thing. But if you buy real estate and then you also know about how to develop the real estate, and you know how to finance the real estate, you own the financer, you can do everything. That's why we at Raises.com ended up owning a commercial mortgage brokerage that is fully licensed so we can vertically integrate. So long story short, the closer you are to the metal, the more profit you can make. And make sure you stay as close to the metal as possible. So with this has been a great video. If you enjoyed it, share it so more people can buy businesses and real estate with other people's money, and book a Raises.com call. We'll see you in the next one.